Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do begin, let's give a brief little review. In the last part, Izuku Midoriya hated quite a number of things. He went to go see some pro heroes. He decided that they were out of his game. In fact, his game, it can't really be played correctly anymore. Now his game is just boring. I mean, it's broken. He had multiple ideas for what to do. But the fact was, pieces that were supposed to be off the board are back on, back in play. Things that have happened shouldn't have happened. And Deku, he's very annoyed by all that. He lost his quirk, and his copies, they went around collecting people, a month after Renegade stopped making public appearances. Now, heroes were quite surprised. The fact that he's finally gone, it worried them. But then it went from a few days to a week, then 2, then 3, and then a month finally passed. And villains, they started to feel a lot more worried. The anarchy going on in the cities, heroes, they quickly started to be able to get things under control. Without people feeding that fire anymore, it's easier to take back control. And that's quite a bit. The villains, they start to be taken down in mass by heroes, and especially Mirio. Now, Mirio, whenever he was able to make his way to these cities and start helping people out along with many members of the top 10 who still had their powers, they did quite a lot. And control started to come back into the heroes' corner. Now, with the ball in their court, the heroes, they want to make moves on the villains. And meanwhile, while the heroes are doing that, we do actually have the victims of Renegade. Ochako, you have Bakugo, and then you even have Toga. Now, Toga revealed to Ochako who she was, what she's been doing, and how sorry she is. Toga, without being around Deku, she feels different. She has a clearer mind, nobody to try and stoke that inner darkness, because that darkness is a little bit more pure. I mean, she's gonna have a child with the most evil man in Japan, and he doesn't want to be a father to one of his children. So what does that really tell you about her child? She cares deeply about this baby, and that caring nature overrided Deku's control. Deku, Toga was very, what's the correct word he would use? Stupid? No. Easy to manipulate? No. She's very lonely. And that loneliness drove her to a monster. And that monster, he did something that even she found to be irredeemable. Now, Ochako, yeah. Going to see Deku face to face again? The idea of it does terrify her. But Toga has a plan. Because her plan involves Deku not knowing she has a plan. Now, currently, Toga does to get things prepared, because she does get to call a few friends she made along the way. Now, currently we do actually have Deku. Deku, he does have the test tube get drained, and the doctor, he does start to watch. He has a lot of anticipation about this. His explanations to Deku, they're going to need to be precise, careful. The reason why he can't get his quirk back. And that is what the doctor, he does start to explain. Deku, he's taken away by Ibara and Jiro. The two picked him up after the mask was removed from his face, and Deku, he was, well, still somewhat staying there in his birthday suit. Now, Deku was taken back to his room, and the doctor, he was called in whenever Deku he awoke. He found that his powers did not return, but he did find other abilities. And while these may be a close second to his original power, he doesn't like it. And the doctor currently does get a walk into the room. As Deku, he doesn't sit there looking at the floating object in front of him, asking the doctor to explain. I tried my best. I tried using Mendeley's ability. I also tried to restore your ability. And it seems like they may have mixed. The results are very undesirable. So what else have you found? Now, Deku just stared directly at the doctor, as the chair is going to burst into flames. It's going to fall to the ground as Deku is going to walk past it, expressing he found superior strength. He found the fact that he does still have the creation ability. So he's assuming that that came back, right? Or was that just a sample of Momo's blood that he managed to fix? He wants an explanation. Why exactly is he not himself? Izuku, you need to remember. This is science I have no experience in. The doctor obviously lying. Because at this point, being as old as he is a fucking award-winning master when it comes to unethical science. Now, the doctor does currently try and talk to Deku and try to explain it. He could get a more in-depth analysis with Ares' blood, but the fact that he's not even allowed to really go near that stuff, it does cause problems. The sample Deku provided was not large enough, not big enough of a sample size for him to fully do things. And that is where the doctor, yeah. He does want to stoke a bit more of Deku's ignorant side. Deku, he always relied on his powers, 24/7 for every conversation he's ever been in. And now his tactical planning, it is all being thrown out the window. And the doctor? Deku, he does get to leave. He still needs the League for a plan, but he feels like the doctor is lying to him. He feels like the doctor is not being truthful, hiding something. And the fact that that is his gut feeling does unnerve him. Deku is not dealing with a game anymore. He is dealing with reality. And Renegade? He does want to make another public appearance, but this time, not as a jester, not as himself. Now, while that's all happening, we do currently have the heroes. Sir Night-Eye managed to get many pro heroes to listen to what he had to say. Wear the helmets, and they'd be safe. And multiple heroes have actually started even endorsing the helmets in case Renegade is going to pop up. Because a UA student went missing recently, and heroes are still missing, and people are claiming to be Renegade. I mean, yes, Mendeley disappearance, the way it seems, it's set up a certain way. I mean, a note written in the blood of 20 different people, that is a specific number with a specific circumstance and meaning. There was no forced entry, and they even tried to look around for samples of DNA, and they did find something. They found a hair follicle that belonged to Momo Yaoyorozu, and that said quite a bit. Because Momo Yaoyorozu, she is a Nomu, and that was a problem. Now, heroes, they started to get a bit more to work on this. However, they wanted to try and keep it under wraps. As currently the meeting, it does go to conclude. Someone going to stand up and going to walk away. And there actually is where Mr. Aizawa, he does going to walk out of the building. Him starting to talk about it. As, right now, you do actually have President Mike to his left, and somebody else to his right. Let's just say to his right, currently is Sir Night-Eye. And everyone there trying to talk about it. Now, Night-Eye is trying to talk to Mr. Aizawa. He wants Aizawa to run point on a mission. Because, thanks to someone and their anonymous information, they might have a lead on the villain's base. They might be able to take these people down. I mean, stop a ton of bad things from happening, and with the Middle Liberation Army and the Chiya Saikai, they're all sort of fucked. And that does give the heroes a very, very bad vote of confidence. However, there actually has been some infighting within the organizations. Redestro's lost faith in Renegade. Redestro, he's also worried. Of the people that follow him and who listen to Renegade, some of the crazies, they're starting to get a bit more restless. They pray to their god and he does not answer. What does that tell you? These people are losing their minds. Without Renegade's chaos for them to look at, they're returning back to a simple, docile nature. No one's poking them like a bear. And that, it does unnerve many of them. Some of them try to step up and lead, but others, they want to wait for their god, wait for Renegade. And Redestro does find it to be just kind of sad. I mean, yes, he does have certain plans for Renegade, but more recently, with him going quiet, he can only assume that Lady Nagant, she got the job done. Now, currently that's what Redestro does think. It's clearly very simple. He was the face of the League, and not the face of the people, the face of the villains, not the face of the misfortunate. Now, Deku, he was chaos incarnate, and Redestro, while he does like chaos, there's Deku's chaos. Pure chaos. No judgment or discrimination. And that does say quite a bit. Redestro, he can understand it, but controlling it is the hard part. He was actually scared of Deku. And hopefully with him off the table, that being where someone does come flying in through the window. As Deku, he does gonna actually rush forwards and grab Redestro by his throat, immediately snapping it and killing him. Now, the moment Deku is gonna smash directly into the wall, he does gonna get back up. Him going to turn and look around. And many people are gonna stare at Deku. Some of them going to pull weapons, and others going to activate their abilities. As Deku, he does gonna throw both of his hands up and then go to do one thing. He does gonna crush his hands in a fist. As everybody in the room, they do start to have nosebleeds. And others, they actually stay standing a bit longer. As they do to fall into their knees. And Deku is going to turn to the remaining survivor, walking towards them. Him going to bend down and create a knife. Are you alright? Deku grabbing the person by the hair and pulling them up. You don't look so well. You're alive. Of course I'm alive. Now, I just killed Redestro. Deku holding up the knife, expressing. So what does that mean to them? Does that mean he's their new boss? Yes, you are. Good. As your new boss, I do have a few changes in management. Now, will you listen to me, or will I have to carve off your face? I'll listen. Please just don't hurt me. You see, you didn't sound like you would listen to me. Deku bring up the knife, and going to slowly insert it into the bottom of their throat. Now, Deku does then go to run the knife directly up. As the person, they do start to feel the blood pouring inside their stomach. And Deku, he does go to watch them grabbing away at their throat as they try to close the wound with their fist. Well, their hands, them balling them up in a fist, holding on tightly. And Deku, he does watch them apply pressure, before he is going to turn and walk away. Redestro's off the table. The Meta Liberation Army is his to command. And right now he does have one command for many of them. But he's also concerned. He has to find and target the heroes. That on his mind. And there actually was the next day. The heroes, they were getting out of their meeting. And everyone, they were just going about their day. And Tsunade, he was talking to Mr. Aizawa. He wanted to know exactly what was going on with his simple idea. The information they have now gives them an advantage. The heroes who wear the helmets give them an advantage. And they may actually have the jump on Renegade. That on their mind. However, Tsunade, yeah. Currently, he does get to walk down the stairs, as someone does come flying down, landing directly on him. As Deku's hair does start to elongate and wrap around Night Eye's throat, as Deku is going to turn and look at Night Eye, bring up his weapon, and going to put a bullet directly in his head right there and then, in front of the hero's building, before Deku is going to turn and look at the pros. And there actually is many of the pros, as Deku is going to bring up his gun and aim it outwards, him blasting a bullet, and it does go flying through the air, as President Mike is going to look at Deku and they're going to scream, the bullet flying up and smashing into Mike's neck, it hitting his Hero Gear speaker, as Mike does actually grab away at his throat. Now, Mike is someone going to fall onto his knees, and currently there is where he's trying to at least see if he's been shot. Now, Mike feels immense pain, and there actually is blood coming out of the wound. And Mr. Aizawa is going to turn and look at Mike, before he does going to turn and stare at Deku, him going to open his eye and activate his ability. As Deku, he does do one simple thing. From behind his back, he does going to pull smoke grenades, and then he does going to toss them out in front of Aizawa. And Aizawa does still try and stare at Deku, before one of the supposed smoke grenades goes off. While the other give off smoke, this one gives off a powerful flash. And Aizawa, he does going to close his eyes to blink. As Deku, he does go rushing forwards and in, him actually flying past Aizawa's right, as he does go smashing into the hero building, him beginning to try and rip apart pro heroes. And Mr. Aizawa, he does going to turn and grab his friend, going to stand back up and run. Now, Aizawa's worried. I mean, Midnight died in the chaos, and now you have all this. You have one of his only remaining friends. No. That currently in Aizawa's mind. And there actually is Deku. Deku, he starts to rip apart pro heroes, many of which are in the top 10. And he does start a confrontation with many of them. Now, let's see. Miriko's depowered from the cork-destroying gas. So would Ryoko and... Oh god, how many of the top 10 were actually at Chihiseika's base? I think Bubble Girl and Centipede and... Oh wow, okay. Ignoring that, now, currently while Deku does start to tear apart the building, his Nomu there teleported in, along with many other people. And currently the heroes, they try to defend. As Renegade, he does go through a ton of chaos. Now, we do actually have somebody else. They do go to call a friend of theirs, as on the other end of the line, a man is currently sitting at the table, him tinkering with something, as he does go to bring his hands away and stare at it. Hello, Toga. Hi, Chizuki. Can I talk? What do you want? It's Izuku. He's gone off the deep end. I see. Is that why he's been evasive? It's partially the reason. And what can I do for you today? I need help. Okay, Toga. What kind? I will tell you, and keep this information in mind. I'm not that type of doctor. It's not about that. I want to kill Deku. Okay. And how do you plan to do that? I don't know, I need to destroy his quirks. I know he'll be suspicious of me not being able to read my mind and... What's so funny? Now, Chizuki does continue laughing. And right now, there is where he does at least bring the phone back up to his mouth, informing Toga. Deku already had his quirks taken away from him. He made sure, Deku, he lost them. And right now, Toga just won't sit there on the other end of the line, shocked. As Shizuki, he does continue talking. You know, it wasn't that simple. The guy, he looks at a ton of things, a ton of people. A random passerby, he didn't look at. he didn't think twice about. So, he does want Toga to know. He already had plans to kill Deku. But if she's going to do it for him, he can give her something quite simple. Currently, her husband is running around, and he's causing quite a bit of chaos for the heroes. So, if she does come by his base, he'll give her the key to the door she wants to open, the path she's willing to walk down. He does just ask one thing of Toga. What? I need you to promise me you'll walk away. I. Toga, I can give you the key to your freedom. No more renegade. No more crazy boyfriend of yours. You know, he'd hit you, you know. What? His brain pattern. The way he thinks. The way he does everything. I may not be that type of doctor, but I know a psycho whenever I see it. Besides, he went in waving his dick around to try and kill pros. He wants to show them he still does have that power. But he doesn't. Not the same way as before. Toga, I'm going to let you know this right now. He doesn't have his quirk. But from what I've seen, he does have a handful. So, enjoy that. If he does have his original quirk, I'd be careful though. Wear the hat or don't? You tell me. But I don't get it. You don't understand what, Toga? Just everything. This feels like what? A second chance being given to you? I'd say so too. Now, Toga, take it and run. That's what I would do. So why don't you? For a number of reasons, Toga. I need to cure Japan. Believe it or not, what I'm doing is going to help save humanity. Shizuki going to hang up the phone. And Toga just won't sit there. Before she does, he's going to turn and inform the other two as to what's going on. And Bakugo, he's taken aback. Because he did notice a few strange things happen last month. He's definitely been getting better. I mean, yes, he's still nutty as squirrel shit, but hey, he's definitely been improving and he's getting better, but he's still sort of, Now, currently, the three do go to make their way over to the Chiyosekai's base. And Bakugo, yeah. Whenever he does find out about what's going on here, he does at least try to make a few things clear. He walked into that base getting ready to try and get something to take down Renegade. But whenever him and the other two do go to walk out of it, Bakugo, he does somewhat just sit there. Him carrying Eri, and he does at least have those grenades Deku he helped to manufacture. The ones that destroy quirks. And Eri was definitely very different from what they expected. She was just quiet. She sat there. She was scared. And she mentioned something about Wonderland and how she wanted to go back home. She wanted to see mommy and daddy because she was scared. And that's it quite a bit about the situation. Now, the world, they're shaking once again. Renegade went into a hero meeting. He went straight to their front door and kicked it off its fucking hinges. He then proceeded to kill every pro inside that building. And that's it quite a bit. Renegade started going around, targeting and executing pros. And many of the ones in the top 50, they were quickly starting to be killed. Many lost their lives to the villains, others by random chance. Some, they started to retire. And the ones who were still alive, they're worried. Renegade is going to counter them next. And right now, I want to say the only real heroes left in the top 50 would be, let's say, 5 random pros, and then maybe even Endeavor and Best Jeanist. Because Miracle lost her quirk, so did Ryoko, and I need to go over all of that to figure out which heroes are still quirked up and which are not. Whoever I say has still got their quirk. Anyways, let's just go with that. Now, with that being said, currently there actually is back at the villain's base. Deku, he got to try an accurate assessment of his own powers. And currently, he's impressed with them. Super Strength, Ibarra's Hair Quirk, Momo's Creation, the Telekinesis, and the new Shadow Quirk ability. A ton of abilities and powers. But then there's also one more. One that Deku, he has not learned about yet. And the Doctor, he's waiting for his master to make himself known. Take over Deku's body. Show him what real evil looks like. And Deku, yeah. He currently does sit there. As the villains, many of them they're a bit more concerned. With how Deku's been acting lately, he's been crazy. I mean, Big Sis Max and Twice, these two, they don't know what to do about Deku. Because whenever he heard about Toga and then he started talking about the other baby, I mean, Twice, he's a bad guy, but he's not even that bad. And Big Sis Max, she was happy for Toga, but I mean, Deku being that boy's father or the girl's father, I mean, she's praying for a girl, but hey, maybe leave the guy? Now, the villains do all sit there, as Mr. Compress and Dobby, they're also there. And currently there actually is where Deku, he's walking down the hallway. He has a lot of things in his mind. He has a lot of things he has planned. And currently there is where Deku, he doesn't pull out his phone again. Going to answer it. And it's Toga. What? Can I talk to you? Toga, I'm busy. I know you're busy, but I miss you. Toga? What did I tell you about calling me? I know. But I know, and you know what? What do you know, Toga? I called in to try and ask about how you were doing. Mag said that the doctor, he was experimenting on you. This is the real you, right? Yes, it is. Now, Deku doesn't want to play it safe. Toga, she's still on his side. He's still got her under his thumb. That's on his mind. And he does have a backup plan. Well, several backup plans, so he wants to get those enacted as well, and then, well, he already has Plan C underway, but Plan C is going to take decades. Now, Deku, he does want to try and plan a few more things out. But there is where somebody at the end of the corridor, they're going to walk around the corner. And Deku, he does go look up and see Toga. Now, Deku does gotta close his phone. And Toga does currently sit there leaning against the wall. As Deku does go start to walk over. And Toga does start to walk over as well. Her with her hands behind her back. And Deku, he does step up to her, asking her, bringing up his hand. What does she want? Him bringing his hand up to her throat, and then going to turn and push her against the wall. And Toga, she does want to stand there a bit more crazily, smiling at him. It feels strange for a second. When she looks at Deku, she feels allure. No. Lust? No. Her mind is... He's still affected. Her mind. Her staring at Deku. Deku, he does get to stare at Toga. And Toga, she does get this expression. Before, she actually just won't lean forwards. And at least try to express to Izuku. She just wants to talk to him. I mean, their baby. She wants to talk about names. Toga? Listen. Deku bring his hand up. And going to move it from her throat away. Moving his hand down onto her stomach. This right here it's important to me. Ochako, she's not that important, alright? Is that what you want to hear? Hear me say? I know what I did to her was a bit much, but really, Ochako, she's just nothing. She's just in the trash now. It's not important. What's important right now is Toga, bring her hand up. Deku doesn't know she's wearing a metallic cap, and that told her everything. Toga knows she's going to destroy her own quirk doing this, but she does not care. And she's going to point blank spray the quirk destroying mist directly into Deku's face. And Deku doesn't want to back away, bringing his hands up as he coughs. And Deku does try to protect his face from the gas. He tries to create a gas mask, but nothing happens. And there's where someone they do come rushing forwards, them bolting into the hallway and going to smash directly into Deku. Him hitting the ground as Bakugo does going to stand above Deku. Him with a gas mask on, pulling his fist back and smashing Deku directly across the face. Now, Bakugo with the hardened, metallic gloves does smash Deku over and over. Before there is where Deku, he does at least get a good look at Bakugo. Before Bakugo, he does actually bring his hand back harder. Him smashing down as all he can, directly into Deku's face. And Deku, he does get knocked out. And Bakugo, he actually does have Ochako run over, her bending down to grab at Deku's legs. As Deku, he's kidnapped. Now, the three, they do get Deku out of here. They tie him up, handcuff him, and put a blindfold on him. They're not going to take chances. And Deku, whenever he does wake up, there is where he's in the back of a car. And he's confused, trying to use his quirks. However, he does find that there's nothing there. And whenever the three start to hear banging and screaming from the trunk, they do know that Deku's awake. As Bakugo, he does have to climb out of the driver's seat. Now, he walks over to the trunk and gets ready. Him with a baseball bat in his hand. Him going to unlock it and step backwards, as Deku throws his feet upwards, smashing into it and trying to get out of here. As currently, Deku, he does have his hands somewhat free from the handcuffs. Him going to bring his hand down and sit back up, staring directly at Bakugo. And Deku, he does try to roll out of the trunk and out of the way of Bakugo's strike that came swinging down. Now, Deku, he does go smashing into the ground. Toga and Ochako going to watch. As Bakugo, he does start to hit Deku over and over and over again. Now, the two do go to watch on as Bakugo, he does get to walk back over to the side of the car. Him going to open it up and at least ask the two. Him going to pull out a few things and set them down, if they want to do something. Now, Ochako, she's not going to pass up this chance. And Toga, after everything she's kind of learned, everything Deku's done, this definitely feels a little bit more deserved. Yes, she punished herself, but in the end, that might actually do a lot more good. And currently the three, they start to torture Deku. Deku, he finally had that karma catch up with him. And there actually was where Ochako, she beat Deku. She was hitting him with a crowbar over and over and over again. She struck him across the face. She even hit him in his genitals a few times. And there actually was Toga. Toga, she pulled a knife. She knew exactly where to cut to kill him, but she didn't cut there. And there actually was where Deku, he laid there after about 3 hours of being beaten. And Bakugo, he made sure to carve the name of every UA student into Deku. And there currently is Ochako, as she just stand there, her with a box of matches in her hand. As Bakugo and Toga, the three elders don't sit there. And Deku, he does lay there looking up at the three, as he does stare directly at Ochako, and he just smiles at her. And Ochako is going to stare back. And currently, there is somebody in the back seat of a car, who they go to stare on at what's going on. They were supposed to be asleep, but, well, all that thumping and all that, well, gagged screaming, eventually it did wake them up. They've already seen a lot of things. And currently Eri, she goes to watch on. Her actually climbing out of the car as Ochako and, well, Toga, along with Bakugo, they threw down the matches into the gasoline. And Deku, he was lit on fire. Now, Deku sat there. He didn't want to give them the satisfaction. He tried to hide the pain. He tried to hide his agony. But right now, Deku, he is going to feel the pain. However, whenever the ball gag, it does have enough of the plastic melt away, there is where Deku, he does actually try to force it out of his mouth. As whenever he does so, he actually does to just scream and laugh. And that's the last thing the three of them they do here. Screaming and laughter. However, eventually it does start to fade. And Renegade, his body is left where it is. And Bakugo, he does go walking back over to the car. As Ochako and Toga, the two, they do go to stare down at what just happened. They are going to call someone. Let them know that he's here. Let them know he's finally dead. I mean, he's finally dead. And Ochako is going to burst out into tears. And Toga, she actually is going to hug Ochako. And Ochako doesn't want to collapse. She still remembers what he did. The pain didn't go away. She got revenge. She hurt Deku. She made him feel pain like how she felt pain. Everywhere. All over his body. Deku, he'll remember it. But now he's dead. Now he's burning. Now he's hopefully in a worse place. And he won't come back. They pray to God that he does not come back. And currently whenever the two go to get back in the car, they make the phone call as the vehicle is going to drive away. And currently they do someone sit there, looking down, as Ochako in the back seat does going to bring her hand down. Her actually grabbing onto Eri's hand, as Eri does going to somewhat turn her head and look at Ochako. And Ochako, she goes to stare directly at Eri. As Eri, she goes to look back down. Her looking at the little book that was left to her by her mentor. Now, with that being said, the heroes, they discover shortly afterwards that Renegade, he was killed. The remains, they're taken away. And aside from a lot of blood being in the area and the spot where the body was presumably moved and burned, there's sufficient evidence, sufficient enough for identification. And whenever it's revealed that Renegade has finally been killed, the villains, a lot of them, they're shocked. Many villains, they think about what to do. And the heroes, they actually are a lot more bolstered by this information. But there also is Chizuki. Chizuki's organization was destroyed by, well, the Quark Destroyers, ironically. The Meta Liberation Army, they're without leadership. And they're just an organization of people who want things to change. And there actually is Hero Society, along with even the villains. While the villains may be a bigger threat, they actually are taken down, thanks to one simple fact. One simple thing happened. Heroes, they received an anonymous donation, and that just so happened to be anti-Quark weaponry. Now, you can thank Chizuki for all that. He was trying to create enough weaponry to sell, and the shipment he had created, it was enough. Aside from what he already got out there in the wild, the only remaining anti-Quark weaponry is now in the hands of pros. And they start to take back Japan. Villains start to get put into prison. And Mirio, he does actually do something surprising. Whenever Shigaraki does try to step up as the leader, he's killed by Mirio. And Heroes, they try to keep it under wraps. It was an operation led by Heroes. And the Hero Committee, yeah. Sadly, the new number one hero might have to become the black sheep of Hero Society. And make a judgment call. Execute or put in prison. Some villains right now are being looked at as too extreme. And the followers of Renegade, after the League of Villains does start to fall apart, they try to keep things strong. Jiro and, well, Ibarra. These two, they try to keep things alive. Because Renegade, while he may pass on to the next life, he did leave behind two gifts in their hearts. Or rather, should I say, bodies. Now, a lot starts to happen. Deku, his children, they're born into many spots. You have the child that was born to Jiro, the child that will believe in anarchy. And then there's actually the child that is born from Ibarra, the child that will one day believe in a higher calling, that pain can lead to salvation. And then there actually is Toga's child, which it does get born to a mother who tries her best. The child will turn out to be normal, and sadly they are going to be quirkless. However, that is also coming back in society. More children are being born without their abilities, and people start to wonder why that is. Now, we also do at least have the child born to Ochako and Renegade. The child that will one day become a pro hero. The child that wants to use their father's gift to try and save the world. Ochako tries to love the baby. It is difficult, but it starts to get better. I mean, the child may look similar to him, but her baby boy isn't him. Her baby boy is just that. Innocent. Untainted by their father. And Ochako just take comfort in that. Now, there also is the child that is born to Momo. Momo, she was an animal, a feral creature. While she may be an imitation of life, she was never killed. And she gives birth to the beast. Now, the beast, it will one day grow. It will one day try to hunt. And while it is more or less seen as a feral animal, it is one day found by society. And there actually is even Mina's child. Mina's child, it is very similar in the situation. However, she does at least try to run with her baby. She tried to get away. Because, while there was still a part of her alive inside that thing, the imitation, it just wanted to be left alone. It just wanted to find a place to hide. And it will do that. Now, we do currently cut to Renegade's grave. As the Nomu, it does get to lay there. It wants its master to return. It wants its master to give it back paradise. To give it back the world it remembers living in. The Nomu wants peace. But it can't. Because for now it will just look after its young. And hopefully one day the master will return. However, they don't count that as an inevitability. Now, with that being said, this was a bit more of a dark and twisted ending for a series, but I feel like a happy ending is never, and it was not in the cards for this series at all. And I did want to make it my darkest series yet, but I will admit even I went overboard on a few things in the series. Now, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and yes, the ending is sort of a bit weird, but it's something I feel like Deku would do in the series. Plan A is himself. Plan B was his apprentice, Eri. And Plan C? were the fruit of his loins. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And I do hope the mysteries I did leave behind, they do at least give you guys a few ideas as to what happens for the next generation.